Did you hit the button? Is the button pressed? Is it still going?
Buttons on?
Buttons on?
Buttons on.
Is this
like we're live?
Waiting for the full nerd.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here waiting. I'm just waiting.
I can't wait anymore.
God, man, these people are late.
I hate it when they're late. Last week you were so late, man. I was in here at 11 o'clock and there was no podcast.
He waited for a week.
Yeah. I want my money back.
I was like 11 and a half hours later, 13 hours later, something. I don't know, man. It was a long time later.
Yeah, it was actually kind of fun to do it off hours because we had people in there who could never usually catch us live.
Oh, your usual set of regulars were
actually, we did have some regulars that I was like, what are you doing up this early? Go to bed. I appreciate you, but go to bed.
I love doing an off-hours stream because you get to see the people who usually just watch the VODs. It's fun.
Super fun. Oh, we're here.
Hey, we're live.
Echo. Maybe mute the
I'm off.
wide. Adam's back. Yep, I'm here.
Yep, it's Adam. It's just Adam and Will.
Just Adam and Will.
And the engine room.
Yeah.
Here in our natural habitat.
Echo? Hello?
Do we have echo?
No.
Hello.
Ivan?
Hello.
No.
Hi. Hello.
Hi. Cameras are muted.
Bedtime.
Camera.
Yep. Let's go. Okay. Well, maybe it was just Ivan. Hello. We're here. I'm back.
Open. Hi. Welcome back.
I'm back from Germany.
Welcome
I was
back
there
to
for
America.
almost 2 weeks. Yeah. Spätzle. I really like Spätzle.
What's Spätzle?
It's Coke and orange Fanta, essentially.
Yeah, you can just take Coke and orange Fanta and pour them together.
I'm going to start doing that.
Okay.
The one thing I did want to try that I didn't, unfortunately, because it was never the right time of the day, was beer and Coke.
That sounds revolting, dude.
I don't know. You could get it in a can at a gas station.
It sounds like the worst possible Four Loko knockoff.
I want to try it. Yeah. The problem is that like caffeine can like hit me like that.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to have it around beer time because usually that's in the evening and I get too caffeinated. But then I also didn't want to have beer too early. Well, so I didn't exactly know the right time that you're supposed to drink that one.
When you're a little jet lagged and also you're in a different country following different customs, and you're trying to get your sleepy times right and maybe over medicating a little bit or under medicating as the case may be.
I've gotten pretty good now at figuring out how to get rid of jet lag. So, luckily I didn't get hit there or back.
Oh,
I mean,
nice.
I got it a little bit, but like nothing real bad. The last time I got hit real bad was coming back from
Computex.
Computex.
Yeah.
That's a bad one.
Yeah, because that's a 13-hour difference.
But you're also
15,
going back in time in a weird way. But also, I didn't do it right either. The way I like to do it is literally just stay up as long as you physically can, so that your like body's at like 30 hours, and you're just like, oh my god! And then when you hit, you hit it, and then you're on the normal time.
That's what satisfactory is for.
Well, you know what I always say to get rid of jet lag: have some stinky tofu, Adam.
Don't. No, I mean, I'd eat it again. I did go to the the Museum of Disgusting Food, I think it was called.
I think that's a little judgy.
It was, you know what? They didn't judge. They had disgusting food from all over the world.
Okay.
So,
that makes it no.
All over the world.
So like a McDonald's cheeseburger?
They didn't have McDonald's, but they did have Pop-Tarts and Twinkies and root beer.
You said it was a salted licorice?
Salted licorice.
Like the ammonium nitrate salts?
All I know was I like licorice, and I ate a couple, and I was like, oh, that's salty. Oh, but then when you get past the salt, you're like, oh, that's good licorice.
I think there's a thing in Holland they do where they put we usually eat sodium chloride, and they put ammonium chloride salts, I think, on. It tastes like the saltiest salt you've ever tasted.
Dude, it was just like a swift kick, and I was just like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. I wouldn't call it disgusting. It was just more like
I could feel my blood
intense,
pressure rising as I put it in my mouth. It was not good for me.
So anyway, we're here. It's just the two. Oh wait, no, that's the other Will. We're hanging out. We're hanging out. Hello. So we're not fully
the original Will Smith. There we go.
Yeah, he's older than me. Slap. Will Smith won an Emmy this week for Slow Horses. The other Will. Another Will Smith. There's there's the slapper. There's two baseball player Will Smiths, a pitcher and a catcher, which I think is just like at some point they're going to end up on the same team. It's going to be amazing.
That would be pretty good.
Yeah. One played for the Giants, one played for the Dodgers for a long time. I think one's still the Dodgers. Anyway. And then there's a TV producer from the UK. And then there's a guy who puts my email address in for all of his stuff.
There's only one other Adam Patrick Murray, and he's a Florida man.
Oh, that
yeah,
makes sense.
he got busted being like naked on a highway on bath salts or something. Yeah, so there's a news post.
And then that person came to California.
Yeah, now I'm sitting right next to him. There's a Will Smith who lives in Ocala, who's a regional manager for Popeye's Fried Chicken. And I used to get the regional manager status reports for Popeye's Fried Chicken in my email. So it turns out if you complain about literally anything at Popeye's Fried Chicken, their solution is always the same. Here's a coupon for a free 3-pack of chicken. So there you go.
Well, there you
pretty
go.
good chicken.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right.
Should we do a podcast?
Yeah.
Might as well.
I
We
guess.
can just talk about chicken.
Yeah. We got stuff to talk about. Yeah. So I'll save it for the actual intro.
Okay.
For a couple things. So yeah, Willis, you good?
I've been ready.
Oh, you've been ready.
I've
Oh, look
been
at this.
ready.
Look at this. He's ready. He's been
Yeah.
sitting there waiting at the table for us to get back.
For a whole week, and I'm a little disappointed, Adam, because I thought you were going to bring me schnitzels or
I did not
something
bring you
during. I know,
schnitzels.
right?
Or
That's
strudels.
so disappointing.
Yeah.
No schnitzels for Willis.
Yeah. I tried to put it in a Ziploc bag, but they confiscated it. So. All right. Cool.
Go for it. Yeah.
Let's do it. What was the intro that I wrote? Oh, there it is. In this episode of The Full Nerd, AMD's big GPU plans and Steam families, not libraries. Library sharing.
Library is what it used to be.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
yeah.
library sharing is what it used to be.
Here we go. I got it. In this episode of The Full Nerd, AMD's big GPU plans and Steam families. Willkommen, meine Damen und Herren. I'm just kidding. No,
wow.
Back into the I actually did the intro last week in German.
Your accent's pretty good.
I lived there for a couple years, so
Oh.
welcome to episode 317 of The Full Nerd, PCWorld's podcast about PC hardware and PC building. I am your fill-in host, Adam Patrick Burry.
Hello, Hello, Burry. I'm just calling you Adam Patrick Burry from now on.
I promise I don't have jet lag. Joined with me at the table today is William Smith.
I'm here to represent all of the other common first name Smiths in the chat right now. That's my job today.
All of them.
Joe, John, there's a bunch of us.
Jimmy.
We're everywhere, it turns out.
Oh, no. Watch
I
out.
mean, there's literally a John Smith and a Joe Smith in the chat right now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Represent them. Representing the verticals and horizontals is Willis Lai. Hello, Willis.
Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday, and also happy Mid-Autumn Fest. Today's the actual day for Mid-Autumn Fest, or I like to say Happy Mooncake Day.
Ooh.
Oh,
yeah.
Some mooncakes. Yeah. Mooncake's good. I got something for you, Will. So.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What'd you get?
Actually, not just for you. Everyone can partake. I brought home some Kinder Surprises.
No.
Yeah, I'm calling the Consumer Product Safety Commission right now.
So
every single one of those is a kid killer.
Yeah, you don't want to know how I got this into the country.
Wait, so these are the actual
These
Kinder
are the
eggs
actual
with
ones
the toys
with the
inside.
toys in them.
In the goo.
Yeah, I ended up getting 8 of them smuggled across the country lines.
I can't believe you're admitting this on a live podcast.
Each one of those punishable up to $2,500 fines. So you do the math. 8 times $2,500.
So that's $3,000, $35,000.
But you know what? Math, right? I was sitting there and I literally was like, I have to do this for Willis.
Oh,
so
wow.
when I went
amazing.
up to customs, I literally had 8 of these in my bag on me, on my physical person. And when I looked dead in the eye to that custom person, they were like, "Hey, do you have any Kinder eggs?" And I was like, "No." And they just let me through.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah. I dead in the eyes.
I mean, you would have done well in prison.
Wait, they said Kinder Egg in particular because you came back from. They said
because they watched the show, they knew.
Oh,
no,
I'm kidding. They didn't say Kinder Egg. Why? No, they don't care. They don't care.
What if you had a banana? If you grabbed like a hotel banana, you're like, "Hey, I'm gonna get a banana." You left it in your bag and you forgot.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. They get angry if you bring a banana, is all I'm saying.
See, our poll reminded us. I said, hey, first contraband on AMD chips. Now Adam has, gone rogue.
Mad with power.
With power.
Yeah.
Well, it was like, I get so nervous going through customs. I never do anything wrong. I'm lawful. I'm lawful good. You're just looking at me. I'm like, I'm sure I've messed up somehow. I'm sure I've done something wrong. There's an apple in there.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe I'm lucky because every time I go through customs, they're like, "What are you here for?" Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, whatever. Just, you know, and it's just like, whatever. It's I just like the idea of a customs agent asking me specifically if they had Kinder Egg.
Do you say smuggling when they ask you? Because that's my
I was like,
usual
smuggling?
go-to.
No, I mean, what are you talking about? I didn't say smuggling.
Personal travel.
Yeah, what are you talking about? I was here on work.
Yeah. What kind of work do you? Smuggling?
Yeah, there you go. So Willis, now you can
Thank you.
I can partake. I got it.
Oh, I'm excited.
Buddy. I also got some. I haven't tried this, but our PCWorld colleague Chris said this is his favorite fruit mix gummy. I
usually eat gummy lock gummy softies.
Yep, and the brand name is NIM2, which means just have two. I think is what he said it translated to.
So you eat two.
Is
there medicine in them? Are they like vitamin gummies? It says fruit gummy mit vitaminen.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, everything's healthy for you over in Germany. They just put vitamins in it.
The
water, man. The people in Munich were just always talking about the water. And how the water affected everything. It reminded me of like New Yorkers talking about the water and bagels and stuff.
The New York water's good.
So that's the thing I want to ask. Have you tried any of the bread or soft pretzels in Munich?
I did not get a straight pretzel, but I had plenty of bread and the beer. Obviously, they were talking about the water in the beer.
Yeah,
it was good. No, I mean it was solid. I mean, good stuff. Munich.
What did they put in the water?
Really good stuff. I guess vitamins.
Vitamins. What it looks like.
What they put in here. Fun stuff. So yeah,
that's fun.
Also, I talked about this last time. Sorry, we're just hanging out in the pre-show. Lots to talk about. I talked about last time having deep anxiety of whether taking on the plane I should take the ROG Ally X with Bazite or the Steam Deck. And that deep anxiety was all the way up to the last minute.
So what'd you take? Both?
I almost did, but I didn't. I was like, no, I'm going to pick one. Yeah, I almost did. No, I took the Ally. Man, well, luckily I did have power, so that wasn't a problem. But I played off power, and that thing was a champ.
So
and I was mostly playing like low wattage stuff, like the new Castlevania DS collection came out. And the reader was like 8 hours.
Oh, that's
like
fantastic.
A real low wattage, and it was just like it was great. Yeah. So
we talked about the plane power seats turning off and on, and I got feedback from a listener, a friend of the show,
really
about that. They said on newer planes, planes built in the last like 8 or 10 years, generally the seats will always be on, and if one block of seats turns off, it's because there's been too much draw, and you can get the flight attendant to flip the breaker and it'll turn back on.
Oh, the airplane breaker! Somebody hit the airplane breaker.
Somebody's gaming laptop was sucking too much juice at them.
That's funny.
On older planes, they would cycle because the generators didn't provide enough. Like the alternator for the plane didn't provide enough power for all the seats to be on at once. But anyway,
I mean, luckily I had power, but I didn't really need it. It was great. The Ally X was a good time. Met a lot of good people, and then when I got home, I had another handheld waiting for me. In a package,
square and small. Is it a Switch 2?
No. This is this case is dirty. So this is an Ioneo Flip DS. So it's got got 2 screens on it.
That's the biggest 3DS I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was funny because I had this sitting on the coffee table, and Lindsay was like, "It looks like one of those moist towelette packs."
Oh yes,
you know what I mean?
That's probably what they were going for.
Like a baby wipe kind of towelette.
I can see that.
So this is the second Ioneo device that I've messed around with. The first one being the Coon. I was not particularly impressed with the Coon, and unfortunately, I'm not particularly impressed with this one. I had some real bad problems with the software, and I've had to like reinstall the OS like 3 times. And it currently has this driver bug where like the top screen doesn't display.
That seems like a problem.
Yeah, it's kind of been a pain in the butt, unfortunately. So I haven't fully been able to appreciate it.
I know that the fan's running at 2049 RPMs right now, so that's got that going. Is the bottom screen do something?
It does have Oculink. So I mean, it is literally just a second screen, so you can put whatever you want on there.
Oh, okay.
So the way I've been able to find out to get that top screen is to log into Windows, or you saw it power on, and then shut it. So and then open it back up, and then the driver shows up. But yeah, you can change it into a trackpad. Oh, it didn't place properly. But you can change it into a trackpad. I mean, you can put whatever you want on the second screen. Keyboard. So yeah,
it seems often like it's neat but janky. Is the experience I've had with the Ioneo stuff.
Yeah, well, in the hardware, I don't particularly like the trigger feeling here.
Are they analog?
Well, it goes at at an angle, which
it's
is
like a
is
PS3 controller.
So yeah,
that doesn't feel great.
So yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
it's
and then the inset. I mean, I understand why they inset the sticks, but yeah,
the sticks feel okay. I mean, the tracking is the issue. They're a little small is the big thing I would say.
So,
and they're kind of it feels like it would be uncomfortable to hold for an extended period of time.
Yeah. So and then I got
maybe my hands are too big.
Oh yeah, I forgot. The thing that I got that I loved the most was a floor USB key. You know, of course.
Just plug that in your laptop.
Yeah. Let's just do it here.
It's a good lanyard, though.
No, I sent this photo over to Discord, and I was like, "Ooh, don't tell Willis I got a floor USB key." I only got one USB key the whole time at IFA, though. I was like, trade show IFA is like I'd give it a 2 out of 10 because I only got one. USB
what does
key.
IFA stand for?
Well, now it stands for Innovation for All, but it actually stands for something else. And it was celebrating its 100th year. And I was like, oh my God, what did they have 100 years ago for tech?
Typewriters?
Yeah, like TVs and radios and stuff like that.
They didn't have TVs 100 years ago?
Radio, I don't know. Who knows?
Well, if we ever need a guest to come on and talk about keyboards sometime, I hate
guests.
Okay, well, never mind then.
No guests. Yeah, we have a policy here. No guests.
No guests. Well,
no guests. I'm just kidding. No, it'd be fun.
Talk. Yeah.
No, keyboards. Yeah, actually, I did. Somebody, I wasn't going to bring it up, but I have it here. Somebody on Discord was like, "Oh, you should check out this keyboard. It's half off on Amazon." EPO Maker. They actually were at IFA, so I did.
It has a knob.
Yeah, nice. It's got a knob. Supposedly, like it's a good value. Brand, but it was like $50. You know, you could change out the switches. They also, who is it? Keychron was there?
Keychron, yeah. Keychron also a good value keyboard maker. They also make nice high mid stuff.
They were as a little goodie bag. They were there. Gatoron, I'm sorry, was there. They had some switches,
bag of sample switches,
and then they had a huge printout for their brand new mechanical jade switch, which actually sounded really good. Except for on the back here, it's described as the first Mahjong hi-fi sound.
That's a negative, I think, in my eyes.
And I don't know what that means. Willis, as a Mahjong expert, do you know what that means?
Just because I'm Asian, I know Mahjong.
I'm assuming you know Mahjong.
I grew up with hearing the sounds of tiles of Mahjong, so I think I know what you're talking about.
It didn't sound like tiles, though.
No?
It just sounded like a switch.
You know the tile sounds.
It's like a domino clacking sound.
Yeah. To some degree.
But I guess mechanical switches are a big deal, and they're leaning into it. The melodic is the one I have a bag of.
Nice.
I'm gonna have over here, but I did like that mechanical jade.
Did you see the thing? Segue into segue, but did you see the thing that Logitech announced a keyboard with magnetic switches this morning that let you configure the actuation point and the whole thing?
Oh, is that? Okay. I've heard about this. That's cool. It's Logitech. I always feel like Logitech is, not the forefront of technology.
Well, they operate it as they explained to me years and years ago when I asked them why they weren't making keyboards that use Cherry MX switches. They were like, "Well, our lowest selling keyboard would absorb the entire Cherry MX switch supply for the entire world." This was obviously a while ago. But they were like, we can't do that.
Also, as part of the Intel briefing that I did go to a little bit during IFA, they have they were giving out these broken Lunar Lake chips. You can definitely tell that.
I don't think I can get it out of the lucite, man.
Yeah, well, I was looking and I was like, oh yeah, no, there is a thin layer. I wonder if you can like crack it open.
You think this is two blocks glued together?
Yeah. No, there's definitely a thin layer. You can kind of see it at a right angle.
Yeah. I was gonna say, Ivan earlier did ask, did you find any Lunar Lake chips on the plane?
Yeah, they literally gave me one. This time they just gave me one, and it is numbered. I got 256.
I want to know.
I'm sorry. 256. So
I want to know how they get the acrylic glued together.
I know, it's real seemless, right?
It's really hard. Like having spent a fair amount of time trying to glue acrylic to acrylic like this to make a seamless transition, really hard to do. Good on them. That's a nice looking CPU.
Lunar Lake is literally in my hands.
Yeah,
I have a Lunar Lake chip. You can see the memory. It's Micron.
Just pop the Ryzen AI 9 out of that guy, slam it in, and see how it goes.
Oh, easy.
Boot that thing up, see how it works.
Actually, I mean, come on, you know people with like shops. Yeah, how do you know?
I mean, it's a killer. I just put on the laser and cut it open, but it would take a minute.
Yeah, well,
make a lot of smoke.
So we'll see, and then we just put it in the laptop.
Yeah, it'll probably work. Right.
Anyway,
speaking of AMD.
Well, nope, we didn't, but now we will. AMD. There's a lot of interesting little like a little smattering of AMD news, kind of like the Salt Bay guy. AMD just came over and was like,
I feel like they did a big kind of a. It was big news.
Well,
delivered subtly.
Well, but at IFA. They didn't have any press conference. There was no like big stage show, anything like that. I did get invited to an AMD breakfast. It was all on the record with AMD executives, and then they even had an executive from Microsoft. I'm sorry, I'm blanking names. So lots of good chatter there. We had friends of the show like Paul Alcorn there. Good people sitting around asking questions. It ran the gamut of people talking about data center stuff to us lowly small little gamers kind of stuff. The gamers kind of dominated the conversation, but Jack Hune, the executive from AMD, he was the main one kind of talking, and he is a big gamer, and he was very very much talking about like where he wants to be and all that kind of stuff. And there was a lot of news. I'm still early in this journey. Usually this is something like, Gordon gets invited to, and then maybe I'll sit in the corner and just, be holding my camera kind of thing. But now I'm sitting at the big boy table, and thank you to AMD for inviting me. But I felt a little out of place because I was like, should I be here? But no, it was good. It had some good questions, and some good stuff came of it, and it was all on the record. And yeah, like just dropping little hints here and there. The big one, which I for me at least, that I did end up doing a video on, was he just casually threw out the Z2 processor, and I was like, I almost did a spit take, and I was just like, did he accidentally say that? And so I followed up and actually made a video about how they said the Z2 processor family is going to come in early 2025, and their plans around that. Go watch the video over there.
Yeah.
If you want to see that kind of stuff. Dropped a couple other things as well. So yeah, the Z2, there's a story, Brad wrote it up over on PCWorld. I've got links all in the description. He was also talking about the next gen Radeons and what they want to do. No hard details, but essentially talking about, hey, listen, we want to try to reach the mainstream audience, and playing at the high end is somewhere they're just like, man, it's cool, it's good, but we really want to be the competitive in the mainstream area, which is what you want to say if maybe you don't have something to compete at the high end. But also, I mean, he's not wrong. The 4090s are not, the highest thing on the Steam charts. So, why not just play in the low end?
I mean, I thought it was interesting because he actually gave market share numbers, example numbers that I assume are based on reality and not just speculation and Steam charts. The problem with Steam hardware survey charts is that usually they lag about 5 years because you have like the shelf life of a gaming PC is anywhere median's probably like 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
So we won't know how well this generation penetrated for another like 5 years for all intents and purposes. Mm-hmm. The point is he said, should I just read the quote?
Yeah, read the quote.
My number one priority right now is to build scale to get us to 40 to 50% of the market faster. So what he's saying is we want to sell into 40 to 50% of the total consumer GPU market, right? Mm-hmm. Do I want to go after 10% of the total addressable market or 80%? 10% implying that 4090 caliber performance is 10% of the overall market. Mm-hmm. I'm an 80% kind of guy because I don't want AMD to be the company who can afford that only people who can afford Porsches and Ferraris can buy. We want to build gaming systems for millions of users. Now, that's look, populism. It's not called populism because it's not popular. Okay, I think it's interesting though because I hadn't heard anybody quantify how much of the market that uber high-end GPU market is, and I don't think I'd heard them say, hey, our goal is to get to 40-50% of the overall market.
I mean, which is a big goal because, I mean, they've been trying for a while.
They've been at like, 10 to 20, it seems like?
Yeah, I don't remember where they sit right now, but like, yeah. And even on the Ryzen side where they've done great stuff on the CPU side,
yeah,
they're still not half of the market share either on that end.
Well, I think if you segment out the enthusiast space, then they probably have more of the market would be my guess.
Yeah.
But it feels like they've been the underdog in terms of metrics for a long time. So,
well, friend of the show Ziv says it's a mistake not to chase Halo. Would you agree that this is a bad strategy?
I think it's probably not great for the overall market, right? I think if you look at where strong competition between AMD and NVIDIA has pushed the overall GPU market over the last decade, the years when one or the other side isn't competing with a top class product has resulted in the top end of the market slowing down, which then slows down everything. However, if they're actually shipping really, like this is a weird situation because not only is the 4090 nothing's competing with the 4090, really not much is competing with the 4080 Supers either at this point.
I mean, 7900 XTX, you can get some pretty good bang for your buck. A higher power draw, but
higher power draw and less performant ray tracing on those parts means that the people who are paying that, like if I'm paying that kind of money for a GPU, I expect people to play Cyberpunk with everything turned all the way up. And while it's possible on AMD GPUs, you're better off spending that same money on an NVIDIA part, it seems like.
Yeah, it's hard, right? Because they're not wrong. That is, the majority of the market is, sub probably $700 if I had to guess, right?
Assume,
yeah. They didn't. I haven't seen any numbers about that kind of stuff, but like, does that mean they're going to be even more effective at targeting the lower end and coming in like really price aggressive? I don't know. But also on the other end, we've heard plenty of, I feel like NVIDIA has gotten out there and been like, hey, listen, like the future isn't pure compute either. It's going to be a lot of upscaling and all that kind of stuff. The like AI features is where GPUs need to go in the future. And at that point, like it's 4090, like I'm sure we'll have a replacement for it, but are we getting diminishing returns on the highest end anyway?
Well, I mean, that's the other, that is that you hit on it. The other thing is that NVIDIA is showing no signs of replacing the 4090 at any point soon. Like I think we're coming up on the threshold for after which point they won't launch a new GPU this year. They're selling a bunch of the Blackwell chips into data centers, into AI trainers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
For 10x the price of a consumer GPU.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of incentive for them to roll anything out. So AMD is looking at their diminishing last gen GPU sales and thinking, we have to release something. What are we going to do? Clearly they don't have anything that's competitive with the 4090 today, or else they'd be pitching us 4090 killers. So they're in a real pickle. And saying, hey, we have GPUs, like, hey, we're selling station wagons over here, is maybe not the worst choice. I don't like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and either way, if the future is not just raw compute and we do need to lean on more AI kind of features, whether it's upscaling or frame gen, they did make some waves about that. So there's another link over here. Mark Hockman wrote about AFMF2, which just rolls off the tongue.
Oh, yeah.
AFMF2.
Not going to say that wrong and offend people.
Which I haven't had a chance to use AMD fluid motion frames much. Have you messed around with it at all?
No, I don't have an AMD card in a machine at home right now.
Oh yeah, because it's not on the Steam Deck either.
It's not on the Steam Deck. Yeah,
I forgot for some reason. I thought it was there.
It's a RDNA 2.
Yeah. So that was the other thing that was getting talked about a lot at this breakfast, which wasn't necessarily tied to this. This is kind of a separate announcement, but they were very open about like, hey, listen, AI is a huge part of the future, and if we can use the power of AI to enable more frames or better battery savings, stuff like that. Like he's like, listen, that's where we want to be in the future is pushing the leading features like that. He did say that the newest upscaling, what can I think of it?
FSR 3?
FSR, yes, there we go. We'll be heavily reliant on AI rather than just like spatial upscaling and things like that. So frame generation and all that kind of stuff is leaning on AI. And hey, if you can do it on a very power efficient AI processor in these new parts that they have out, then why not do that? And then he was talking about working with a lot of developers to say, hey, what kind of things in your engines can you offload to this efficient AI processor as well? So there was a lot of talk about that kind of stuff, which is interesting. I mean, it's kind of, in a lot of ways, we've all been like, oh man, everyone's talking about AI. I'm so sick of hearing about AI. But these were tangible things that Jack was talking about. Like, hey, listen, what if these AI coprocessors could help out in these like gaming specific tasks?
Did they have anybody from like game developers or engine manufacturers they're talking about? I'm curious what examples they gave.
Not there, but he was talking about talking a lot with Epic. And Tim Sweeney, right?
Yeah, Tim
so
Epic, we call him.
Yeah. Definitely name drop that a lot, and just trying to get in. Somebody, it might even be me, I can't remember. Somebody did ask a follow-up question of like, well, what specifically are you doing to help developers like target this kind of stuff? And it was like, hey, we're in the early days. We want to get the hardware out there. We're still figuring out what that kind of stuff could be. But I do like that they had brought that up.
I mean, the challenge is always market penetration, right? Because you're not building a game that's going to release this year or next year for this hardware because there's not going to be very many machines in the pool that use them, unless we're talking about like, when. It's the unfortunate thing is often the moment that becomes relevant is when new consoles ship.
Yeah, well, and I mean we have heard like Microsoft has come out and been like, oh, this is going to be the biggest generational leap, right, into the next consoles, what they're working on. Which, if a lot of people are like, what? How are they going to get that compute? And I'm like, I actually think they're talking more like AI, because they could easily point to be like, well, the Xbox Series console had 0 AI capabilities, but now this new one has, X number of flops. That's literally the largest generational leap ever, is AI compute.
Yeah, so it's Copilot Plus compatible.
Exactly, yeah. So I could see how, they can kind of talk about that. But either way, AI is going to be a future. AMD is assuming they're going to be in all the next major consoles. I mean, they still have a good foothold in gaming. So, I don't see why not.
Did anybody give a solid, like, hey, this is the thing we're really excited about using AI for? Or was it just, hey, it's here and people can use it, we're waiting to figure out what the use case is?
I mean, it was still talking about early days. Okay. Even the Microsoft people were like, hey, we have some things that we're going to show off. We have more that we're going to show off later. We can't talk about it right now. But there are things coming, is what they're saying, and they just wanted to get hardware in the hands of people, and then let the ISVs kind of take it from there. I mean, there is interesting stuff for sure, but I mean, I was using that Snapdragon laptop, and then I switched over to this Asus ZenBook 16 that has the new Ryzen AI 300 in it. This is what I ended up taking on the trip, and yeah, I mean, the only thing that I saw getting used on the NPU was at one point I did a meeting and turned on the background blur in the Microsoft Studio Effects.
Okay.
So other than that, we're still waiting.
I was going to say the AFMF2 the AFMF2 stuff is not it's tied to AMD hardware, but it doesn't require plugins. It's part of the Adrenaline software. Is that right?
I think it can be both. Honestly, like I think it's kind of like FSR, where it can be done either at the driver level or the game level. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, I
mean the place that is interesting, especially, and the place where where AMD has a strong lead in terms of market penetration, is in the handheld space, which is like itsy bitsy in the greater scheme.
It is, yeah.
But this is exciting for that, because if we have AI accelerators in our handhelds, all of a sudden, like it's the first feature that the Steam Deck doesn't have that I think Asus or someone else is going to ship. That's going to make me think, oh, right, maybe it's time to finally bump this thing up.
Yeah, no, obviously as a handheld fan, that was most of my questions for both AMD and Microsoft executive. So I'm sure they were just like, oh, what the hell is this guy? It's such a small part of the market.
15 people buy these guys.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But I mean, they were nice about it. And Jack especially was like, hey, listen, I mean, I don't have the direct quote in front of me, but he was very honest. He's like, hey, I've used all the handhelds and I'm sitting there, only getting 30 frames a second and 2 hours of battery life on, best case scenario for like a high end game. And he's like, that's just not enough. That's not, that's not okay. I want even more from it. Especially efficiency, right? Is the big thing. So like I get the sense that he definitely does care.
Okay.
And then when I had asked Microsoft executives about the executive that was there, and once again, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the name. But there was like, oh, hey, listen, a lot of people have asked for a lighter version of Windows or something that runs exclusively for handhelds that kind of helps with a lot of these battery drain stuff. And, he was just like, oh, yeah, it's something we really care about, and we're looking into.
Windows 11 Game Edition.
So, yeah, actually, to tell you, and I've always been on the side of like, hey, no, there's no chance in hell Microsoft is going to make a version of Windows just for handhelds. That's way too small of a market. And I still kind of get that feeling after talking to them that they're like, they care, yes, and they're looking to address certain pain points, but I really don't believe they're going to make a specific version of Windows just for handhelds.
How many people are still there that remember Windows XP Tablet Edition and Windows XP Media Center and how much time and energy and resources they dumped into those only to kill them, like 3 years later?
I forgot to ask that question.
Yeah. So once all those people have left, that's when somebody will be like, hey, we should do a game edition for these handhelds. And there won't be anybody there to say, no, this is a bad idea. We shouldn't do this.
Yeah. But they did, a lot of the talk also was, oh, hey, you have a custom solution for the Steam Deck. Obviously, a more custom solution for consoles, in laptops, and most of the handhelds have, off-the-shelf kind of parts. What's the future look like for that? And I did ask, like, hey, listen, like, we've got plenty of CPU cores on a handheld. Are we going to figure out different SKUs and stuff like that? And it really kind of came down to the answer was like, hey, listen, like, we're making a lot of different kind of products. We want to make sure the stack is diverse, but also, hey, like, how diverse can we make it? Because we've only got so much fab resources. Yeah. So like, I actually, as of right now, I think the Z2 is probably just going to be closer to an off-the-shelf Ryzen AI 300 part. But in the future, they said they want to get to something that's a little more in between bespoke, like between the Steam Deck bespoke and the just an off-the-shelf part.
Because it would be nice to trade some of those CPU cores for GPU capability on a gaming device. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah,
Makes sense.
We've got plenty of CPU. The other thing, which to bring up, that which I didn't get too deep into, but they were talking about the UDNA. So he did mention how he wanted to, or AMD wants to simplify their platforms, unifying Radeon and Pro Graphics, because right now they have CDNA and RDNA architectures. He wanted to combine it into what they're calling unified DNA, so UDNA. Graphics.
MeDNA?
UDNA?
No, UDNA.
MeDNA.
No. Him
We're
DNA.
doing all the Spider-Man pointing fingers.
Exactly. So, yeah, there's a direct quote from Jack Hune here. Quote, part of the big change of AMD is today we have a CDNA architecture for data centers and an RDNA for the consumer side. Going forward, we'll call it New DNA. There will be one unified architecture, both instinct and commercial side, so that we will unify it. It will be so much easier for developers. Today we have to choose, and it's not accruing value, end quote. So, I think they're looking to simplify stuff, which makes sense, and that's a good thing. So, I don't know how this will bear out in the market. But
what's the use for data center GPUs at this? Because they're not. Is this where they're doing the AI compute stuff, or is this?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, they did talk a lot about data center stuff, but once again, that's not really my forte. So a lot of it was, I was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. But they're happy with where they're at in data center, and they feel like they have a really strong approach to it. from a high level is what I can say, so I don't know, I don't follow it as much. All I know is that NVIDIA is still dominant, AMD is doing good stuff, and then Intel's still working on it as well. So
yeah.
But yeah, once again, not my area of expertise. So either way, like I definitely do feel like, hey, listen, like even though they didn't get on a stage and talk about all of this kind of stuff, there was just this real little sprinkle of all this kind of stuff throughout the last couple of weeks that just like, dang, AMD is definitely like putting their thoughts together and trying to simplify stuff and like move forward, and AI is a big strategy, and like I could glimmer a future where that can make sense, both for handheld efficiency but also for bigger games as well. So yeah, okay, interesting stuff. But either way, I mean, yeah, I don't remember what the market share is for AMD GPUs, but as much as YouTubers scream that they're the best value out there, like people are still just buying NVIDIA. I don't exactly know how to change that. I think a lot of it just comes with market people walking into a store and being like, oh wow, okay, should I just go with NVIDIA because everyone uses NVIDIA, but also the software stuff. I mean, they've got a good software stack, but people know broadcast, people know a lot of these NVIDIA features.
It used to be a lot easier when you went into Fry's and you were like, am I going to buy the video card with the robot or the one with the dragon?
Yeah. There you go. Mindshare. Thank you, Tim. That's the word I was looking for. I mean, I don't know.
Here's the thing. The longer NVIDIA waits to launch 5000 series cards, the more of an opportunity AMD has. The question is, are they going to get something out in time to take advantage of that? And does NVIDIA care enough about the consumer market right now, given how much money they're making on the AI side, to even answer whatever it is they do? Like they could get 6 or 8 months of, hey, here's cards that are better than NVIDIA's 4000 series at every point except for the 4090 at same or reduced cost. And
I don't know.
And they could own a big chunk of market, but they have to ship hardware.
Yeah, not quite sure. Yeah, Coffee, friend of the show, says because you don't compete on price, you compete on branding / mindshare. Yeah, and that's the thing, is that like pricing is one part of the equation, but for the unwashed masses, it still matters. And also, I mean, just to be honest, a lot of the people are gaming on laptops.
True.
Like desktop is what we care about here for sure, but they're like the laptops are still where it's at. That's the majority of the hardware. A lot of people gaming on laptops. So, and even there, AMD kind of struggles, even though they have really good hardware.
Well, and friend of the show, Al Bundy, brings up a good point too, which they use NVEnc a lot. So it has to be NVIDIA next time because it's part of their workflows. This is a thing that NVIDIA. This is a thing that NVIDIA is really good at is integrating NVIDIA only software solutions into a million little places with stuff like broadcast and NVEnc and OBS special encoder optimizations and all of these things that when you look at them singly, it's like, oh, it's not that big a deal. I can just use QuickSync or whatever. But when you add them all up, all of a sudden you're like, oh, right, I have to stick with an NVIDIA GPU because it turns out the best moat is software,
which is not a bad thing. But like more competition would definitely be better. So
the unfortunate thing is AMD 15 years ago at this point stuck to their guns and kept shipping OpenCL stuff and didn't when NVIDIA was like, hey, you can build a CUDA encoder for your GPUs, they didn't jump in, which seemed like the right idea at the time. But now that so much of the industry has locked onto CUDA as, like the AI stuff, the data analysis stuff, all of these huge big compute tasks are CUDA, people build CUDA apps for. That basically says half the market is, or 30% of the market is closed off to people that are running those applications, and it's allowed NVIDIA to build a giant wall around their GPU business. So
yep. But yeah, that's AMD. Lots of stuff there. I really do need to try AMFM. No, AFMF.
Nope, that's a band. KMFDM?
No, yeah. So yeah, I do want to try it in a handheld capacity too. So
that's the place I'm most excited, I think.
Yeah, but also like getting there were no handhelds that I know of so far that are announcing using any AMD chips that have an NPU on them.
That'll come. That'll trail.
Come. Yeah. I also do think that, hey, we're essentially maybe at this point just waiting for Z2, which will be that as well. Meteor Lake has it, but it wasn't really used. Lunar Lake, which is right here. It's coming. I did get to put my hands on the MSI Claw. If you remember at Computex, all of the Lunar Lake hardware was behind glass.
Oh,
couldn't even
the Lunar
touch
Lake Claw,
Lunar Lake
not
stuff.
The Meteor Lake Claw you have.
So we actually were able to get our hands on Lunar Lake stuff. I did see some people running numbers when they weren't supposed to.
Oh no.
So whatever, it's getting out there.
You gotta name names at them. Just get it out there.
And I did mess around with that Lunar Lake equipped claw, but they wouldn't let me bring up overlays and stuff like that. I try not to burn anybody on our end. So I'm cautiously optimistic, but I still think it's early days for the NPUs to be heavily used in handheld gaming scenarios. So we'll see.
Yeah.
And Coffee has a question they just put over on Discord. Let me go see. Relating to this. Here we go. Friend of the show, Coffee asks, AMD has made it clear that they are switching their strategy willingly or not. What is much less clear to me is what their new strategy is and how it differs from before. For instance, RDNA 1 focused on the mid-range market, but AMD didn't significantly increase their market share with this generation of GPUs. What's supposed to be different this time? Yeah, I mean, this doesn't feel like a huge change, but it definitely feels like they're trying to simplify stuff and really bring a focus to light. I don't think that this major shift is going to happen overnight or anytime in the next year or so. This definitely feels like hey, you know what? We're gathering the wagons. We're figuring stuff out between all this stuff we're talking about, and we're executing on this new roadmap. And it's still probably going to take a couple years to really feel the effects of it. Well, but that's just my guess.
And the thing I don't have a good sense for is how much of the PC enthusiast market is people like us who pay attention to hardware, and how many people are just go to Origin or Falcon or Alienware or somebody and are like, yo, I just want the fastest thing you got with an Intel and an NVIDIA in it, and here's $5,000, whatever a pre-built machine costs these days. So it feels to me like as that high-end enthusiast market has shrunk over the years a little bit, it's probably the percentage of people who pay attention is higher, but also the last 3-4 years, we've seen a lot of people get back into PC gaming that probably weren't, as this console generation has been kind of a little bit of a fizzle. And I don't know, maybe we are, maybe there is a bigger part of the market that's invisible to people like us and who don't pay attention to what's going on and are just going to buy a 4090 even if there's something better out there.
Yeah. Curious times indeed. I don't know how to segue, so I'm just gonna say, hey, you have Steam.
Hey, what's the deal with Steam, Adam?
And you have kids, right?
I have a family.
Yeah, you have a family. A family
like
that uses Steam?
Like Vin Diesel and his people before him.
Oh,
I believe in family.
Family?
Family.
Like Adam Patrick Murby?
Murby.
Or Burry? What did I call myself? Really?
Furby.
Furbies, yes. So Steam Families. This is something that was in beta for a bit, right?
It's been in beta for 6 months. It seems like a long time.
But now it's launched in earnest, and anyone can take advantage of it. Have you used it?
I used it in beta as a family person. So the big change in the olden days, before 3 days ago when this came out,
like back in my day,
back in your day,
like when Half-Life 2 launched.
No, like Steam? Last week.
Oh, okay.
If you could share your Steam library with a family member with an account that's typically you have to set up when you're on the same subnet or on the same PC. So you log in with your kid's account, you log in with your account, and you say, okay, my kid can play my games on this account. Now,
but not at the same time, right?
In reality, what happens is you're doing something on your PC, say you're making a video game,
okay,
and you're playing the game in a playtest, and then your kid's like, I'm going to play some Sims, which also is on your account, and then they hit the Sims button, and it kicks your machine off of Steam, because the thing pops up and says, hey, your dad is on his computer playing a game, and they just press OK because nobody reads the pop-ups.
Yeah, nobody.
So then you get kicked out of your playtest, and the whole thing, you have to start the whole thing from scratch, and it's a big pain in the butt. Didn't work very well. It was a bad implementation. What they've done now and that was a per library setting. So like once somebody else accessed any game, not even the same game, in your library, in the shared library, the person who shared the library would get booted off.
Mm-hmm.
This is a stupid implementation. What they've done now is made it per game. So if you're my child, Adam Patrick Burry,
yeah, Daddy,
that's too young.
Roblox.
Okay, Roblox isn't on Steam, but
why is Roblox on Steam?
It's because it's free. They don't want to give Valve 30%. It's really easy to understand.
You don't want me as your kid.
No, I don't. I've already realized the error of my ways. But say I have Left 4 Dead and you're the coolest 5-year-old in the world and you want to play some Left 4 Dead, right?
I'm the coolest 5-year-old in the world.
And
I want to play Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, and I'm playing Stardew Valley because I'm old and I want something that's cozy and cheerful. So I have my Stardew Valley open and you're like, I'm going to play Left 4 Dead. If I've shared my library with you in the new Steam Families era, then you just get access to it. Left 4 Dead launches and I don't get kicked off of Stardew Valley.
And it's
per game sharing rather than per library.
Yeah, which seems like it can be abused, though, right? How are they protecting anybody? Like, what if I just share the login that you give me, Daddy, to Willis, my friend over here? He also wants to play on Steam. What if he logs in from his home?
I don't care. I'm sure he can do that. It's probably fine. 6 people is the max.
And it's not looking at IP addresses.
I don't know if it looks at subnet or not, actually. That's a good question. But
just to see, like, hey, are you in the same home at least? You know, like, oh, yeah.
Well, you have to establish a familial relationship. So that means in order for you to share, you'd have to share your Steam login, which you should never do. Don't ever share your Steam login, Adam Patrick Burry, my child. If you do that, you're going to get grounded and I'm going to take away your Steam access. So it works like a family relationship does on iOS or Android or Google or Microsoft or your Xbox or your console. So I have a parent account and my kid has a kid account, and I can set up the access to the games that I want. So like, for example, if you're 5 years old and I don't want you playing Left 4 Dead, then I can say, only give them access to E-rated games.
Yeah.
Which then is going to cause another problem because you're going to be like, I'm going to play Stardew Valley, a game that maybe is rated E. I don't know. And it's kind of horny for an E-rated game, but whatever.
There's a lot of sex in that one.
It's implied.
You know.
Anyway, the point is,
doing it.
If I'm playing Stardew Valley and you want to go get your Stardew Valley on at the same time, then it gives you hey, only one person can play Stardew Valley at a time. Unless someone else in the family has a copy of Stardew Valley and then it'll just use theirs instead.
Yeah. Well,
which is cool.
That's interesting. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I feel like everyone in this space, especially for streaming video, is going the other way. Obviously, Netflix has really tried to tamper down on people sharing passwords and all that kind of stuff. But it seems like why is Valve going the other way and opening this up?
Valve doesn't have a subscription business, and Netflix does. Yeah. Valve doesn't seem to like subscription businesses. They've been pretty anti that in the past.
I mean, but still, you're selling one game and multiple people are being able to use it. Well, yeah, sure, not at the same time, but
yeah. So imagine I bought a copy of a game on a disc and an Xbox disc, and I was like, "Hey, Adam, do you want to play an Xbox game with me?" And I give you a copy of my disc and you borrow my disc and then you play the game. It's the same thing.
I know, but once again, that sounds like the old way of thinking. Nobody's going back the old way. Everyone is like, no. We want digital ownership to be very strict.
Well, so there's 2 things. One is,
so what are they getting from it? I guess like that, like
this is a big
customers. Deal. Yeah.
And also, if you're going to play multiplayer games with other people in your family, which I bet they have a pretty significant amount of data that says, hey, people in families play multiplayer games together, you have to buy a number of copies of the game equal to the number of people in your family that want to play at the same time.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like there's a catch somewhere. Where they're waiting for the catch. Where's the catch?
I think the benefit for them is that if I'm looking at games that are available on, I own all 3 consoles and PC and Steam. One of the things that happened is with the Steam Deck, suddenly people have 2 PCs in their house that probably didn't before, and this has become more of an issue. So, for example, when my wife was trying to play Balatro a few weeks ago, she kept kicking me off of my Steam account until I just logged the Steam Deck off and was like, "You're going to play offline, have fun." So my guess is this was precipitated by the Steam Deck. It's in Valve's interest for customers to be happy and want to buy the games on their platform. And by building a more functional content sharing scheme than anyone else, Microsoft's is okay, but Microsoft and Sony both do this thing where basically there's a primary console and that console can play everything, whether it's online or offline. And then if you want to share on the same, then it's tied to your login on other machines. So if you have, say, 2 PS5s, the one that's logged in has to always be logged in order to play the game. The one that's the primary one can always play the game with any account. So you have to it ends up being the person who owns the game has to play in the other room or something, not on the main console. The Switch is a nightmare. If you have 2, it's fine. If you have 3, you're just buying 2 copies of every game. Ask me how I know that. It's everybody who's kid has the same problem.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I was going to say, back to the parental controls, say Adams 5.
Sorry.
I'm
sorry. Please stop. I'm annoying myself.
Please stop.
If you can set a parental control where your kid can't share your account password to their friends, to their classmates, right? Would that be has you tested that out yet?
They can share their password, but I've taught my children, not Adam, not to share passwords because it's a way you get in trouble. So you can't. The kid won't be able to add somebody else to the family. Okay. Only the parents can add people to the family, right? And you can only have 6 people in the family total. So, yes, is there a possibility for people to abuse this system and bring their gaming laptop over to my house and become part of my family? Sure, I don't care. I'm not going to do that. I'm happy that they're letting me use this in a way that I don't have to think about it anymore. That's ultimately my goal. And you can also allow, so you can set general guidelines that are I don't want my kid playing anything that's rated T or higher. But you can say, but we play PUBG together, and she only plays PUBG when we have voice chat off, and it's just the 2 of us playing duos. So I'm okay with her playing a violent video game in that context, and the multiplayer video game in that context. And you can allow list PUBG if you want.
Well, what about so maybe Valve is happy to do this, but what do you think developers are?
Well, so the interesting thing about Steam is that they make these features available, and then developers can choose to opt in or not.
Really? This is not just
it's not universal, because there's a lot of games that just won't work. So, for example, a game that requires a secondary login probably generates a token. So those are just by default not going to work.
Like Ubisoft games or anything that has a separate launcher.
It depends. So it's up to the developer, honestly, because typically if you have a launcher, the game will generate a key and do that authentication automatically. For example, most multiplayer games don't allow this because they don't want you to create an infinite number of kid accounts to cheat and spam that are indistinguishable, that are separate from the primary account, so you can't effectively ban a bad Steam account, right? PUBG had to turn this off because it was a vector for cheaters years ago.
Cheaters.
But yeah, there's a literally turning it on and off is a check mark in the Steam backend that says, "Hey, do you want to enable family support for your game? Yes or no?" And again, this new way is nice because it means that they can try it out. But presumably, if I make a game and somebody in a family buys it and then somebody else tries it out, pretty good chance that they're going to buy another copy next time it's on sale or something if they like it. If you made a good game, so it seems this with my game developer hat on. This seems really good for pretty much everybody except for big live service games, which are not going to do that anyway. And also a lot of them are free to play, so it doesn't matter. And cheaters.
Cheaters. Damn cheaters. All right. Well, okay. That's Steam libraries. Or Steam families. If you have a family, try it out.
It's great for Steam Deck owners because then you can create multiple logins. So I can make a login for my wife on my Steam Deck, hand it to her, and she can play Balatro anytime I'm not playing Balatro.
Well, and something that I'm thinking about, and this is a 0.0001% problem is that hey, if I'm benchmarking, usually I actually have a separate account to benchmark. Because I'm well crap, I can't benchmark, while one thing is playing a game, I can't benchmark the other one. But now I could. I mean, it can't be the same game at the same time, but at least I could be logged into my account and test 2 different games at the same time.
So it is a huge time saving.
They did it for us. They did it for us. All these benchmarkers in the world who were crying about.
God bless the benchmarkers.
Yes, thank you so much, and thank you all to asking questions. Now we're gonna move over to the Q&A section. If you have a question right now, just at the Full Nerd Podcast in the live chat. If you're watching or listening to this later, there is a link in our description over to Discord, where we have some fine folks chatting about cool stuff every day, and there is a channel in there called Full Nerd Questions that you can get your question in and hopefully read on the next episode. So I'm going to get to some of these. Okay, let's see. Friend of the show, Sneaky, says, if you only have one ARGB fan for a 3 front fan case, where would you place it? Top, mid, or bottom? Why does that placement matter?
Oh my God.
I think that one first. This is the pick a fight.
I also do think it's funny that they specified an ARGB fan. So it has RGB. So you have to worry about you're worrying about airflow, but you're also worrying about where do you want that RGB to be shown.
I'm gonna make a poll for this real quick.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, I would typically. Well, I guess it matters what kind of cooling. I think if your CPU is on an air cooler, that you want to place it so that you have direct airflow into your air cooler. But if you have liquid cooling, I think you place it to the GPU.
Oh, okay. So I interpreted this question differently.
Oh,
I interpreted this question as...
Am I interpreting it wrong?
I interpreted this question as I have 2 fans what don't have lights and 1 fan what does. And you're going to have 3 fans no matter what.
That's how I'm interpreting it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. If you only have one ARGB fan for a 3 front fan case, where will you place it?
Willis, you got to be no.
That's why I said you're picking a fight, right.
Oh, this is
the beginning of Q&A.
Yes. Okay. Well. Let's answer both ways because I'm not quite sure which way. But yeah,
so
that was my pick. Yeah. So I would put the fan. If I have a CPU air cooler, I would put it to directly feed that. But if I have liquid cooling, assuming that it's just spitting the CPU out of the top, then I want more airflow for the GPU. So depending on if it's a flow-through design,
absolutely mad. Bottom?
Well, what would you do?
I'd put it in the back.
So exhaust. Well, but that's not the
then
that's
you
not
can
the
see
question.
The ARGB. All that matters is the lights, Adam. It's a simple question.
Yeah, in a 3 front fan case, where would you place it? Top, middle, bottom. You can't do in the back.
There's always an exhaust.
I know, but it's
not. You ever seen a case without an exhaust? No.
Sneaky didn't put that.
Well, I'm just
so
answering
you would
the
do
question.
Exhaust.
I would do exhaust 100% of the time.
Interesting.
It's the only right answer.
100% of the time.
Everybody else is wrong.
Okay. Well, then what about the other way? What if the front had three fans and just one of them is
You're a criminal
ARGB?
If you do that. That is awful. Why would you do that to yourself?
Yeah.
I mean, if I had to pick, I pick the middle.
Yeah, I would default to middle too. I think.
I was like, for me, I'm a little OCD,
it's at least
so it doesn't
balanced.
make sense top or bottom. It's like middle is just fine,
I think I'd do exhaust again because the nice thing about the ARGB on the exhaust fan is
so
it
you
lights
just
up
have
the inside of the case.
2 in the front and then 1 in the back.
Yeah, it'd be a front of sadness, and then you'd have a little bit of light inside.
Interesting. Okay, well, I didn't know we were gonna be so hotly debated here.
And then so far in the poll, everyone's just saying 63% says middle. So
they're all wrong, okay. Willis. That's 63%. You know what? 100% of the people who answered this poll wrong.
Oh wow,
wrong.
Dang. Yeah.
Elena's here. She chose chaos. She chooses bottom.
Oh no.
Yeah. Interesting.
Get those cables cool. That's the important thing.
Because I feel like heat's gonna escape, but you want more fresh air. Fresh air isn't just gonna magically come in, which is why you want an intake rather than an exhaust. The heat's going to exhaust either way.
I'm assuming you have normal fans that are just not fancy ARGB fans.
I'm assuming you have 0 fans. You can only put 1 fan in your case.
If you only put 1 fan in your case, then you also should buy a fire extinguisher because it's only a matter of time.
And it's fine. There's plenty of cases with 1 fan or no fans even.
Look, I found an old case in my an old Dream Machine in my garage. I need to bring it in.
Oh yeah, you should.
I put it on my list. It has a single 8-centimeter fan in the back.
8 centimeters?
Or maybe it's 8 centimeter on the top. I can't remember. Jesus. But it's just a little guy.
That is tiny. Actually, no, because I think that's all this Falcon.
Yeah, it's the same case as that Falcon.
I think. Okay, yeah.
An old Silverstone, yeah.
Yeah. Oh crap! I think my. I think I killed my Chrome. My Chrome locked up, so I can't see the. I'm just going to end that task. Sorry.
Did I say 8 millimeter? I meant 8 centimeter.
You said centimeter. Yeah. Let me reopen
dinky.
Chrome. Who are you calling dinky? All right. Has there been any questions that I missed in the time that my
people are just really upset about
crashed?
This fan conversation?
Yeah.
It seems like.
Okay.
You've really
Lewis Law says this is your only fan. Not that kind of fan.
Friend of the show, Diotis, says, "Does Adam think negative pressure is magic?"
I know. Yeah, but the thing is, like, I would still rather have more fresh air coming in.
You believe in the power of the the blower.
I want the fresh air coming in. Yeah.
You think
give
blowing
me the
okay.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay. Friend of the show, Sneak. Wow, you really asked a lot of good questions here. Should AMD, Intel, and Nvidia suddenly decide to drop gaming segment today, cold turkey, who do you think will come to fill the void and save the day? Qualcomm? No,
They've tested 1,200 games, Adam.
I think weirdos like us would still buy like data center GPUs just to game on, right? Like, oh, let me get my hands on a Quadro. But I mean, honestly, I think console is probably the answer. A lot of people would just move to console if like you couldn't reliably get gaming grade stuff anymore.
I'd probably make do with handhelds.
Yeah, well,
but
if AMD is dropping their gaming segment, then they wouldn't provide the hardware anymore. This is again up to interpretation. Sneaky is being real sneaky about these.
This is where Risk 5 comes in and saves the day.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Could Qualcomm? Sure, I could see it. It would not be a fun feature.
Who else makes Power VR still makes GPUs? No, for real. That's what's in every Snapdragon.
Sure. Yeah.
You get that tile rendering going. Let's do it.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I guess second question.
Yeah.
Based off of this, how likely do you think any of those companies would just drop gaming altogether?
Wouldn't surprise me if Intel does it. They've done it like 3 or 4 times in the past. I mean, they've dropped GPUs in the past. Sorry, not just gaming.
Well, this isn't just talking about GPUs. It's talking about gaming segments.
I mean, for all intents and purposes, dropping GPUs is dropping gaming.
Yeah, I could see that. I could also see NVIDIA being like, screw these gamers. Let's just go straight for the data center.
I mean, NVIDIA's stock price is at $900 because of gamers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, they're like, oh no, actually, yeah, just buy our data center GPUs, these filthy gamers. No, I don't think they would. And I think if Gordon were here today, he would say I was an idiot.
Here's my $50,000 Blackwell. I'm just gonna save up. It's gotta last me like 12, 15 years. Here we go.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna read this the way that I like to read it. Sneaky also asks, why does Pisser sound like a dynamic real-time wall?
Wait, what?
PSSR.
Oh,
I like to call it Pisser.
Is PSSR the PlayStation
symmetric super sampling resolution?
Yeah,
I don't remember.
It's their DLSS/FSR.
Nobody's tested it yet. So part of the PS5 Pro professional line that was announced. Why does it sound like it's a dynamic / real time while PlayStation's game is limited and predictable? Wouldn't it be better if they just curate an upscaler pack for each large game titles for even better performance? So I think they're saying like, hey, why is it driver level rather than game level? I think is what I'm trying to say.
It was unclear to me whether it is driver level rather than game level. I think what they're saying is it's general AI rather than specialized trained. And it's probably because the cost of training each individual game is substantial enough that my guess is they're still going to do it and build it into the model for like your Last of Us's and your Insomniac games and your big Sony exclusive issues.
Yeah, because who would take up the training on that? Would it be Sony or would it be AMD?
It's Sony's software, Sony's hardware.
Yeah,
and the interesting thing about Sony is they're the one company in this space that doesn't really have. I mean, I guess they have the cloud rendering stuff, but they don't really have a compute cluster that they can train on for free.
Yeah,
or in Slack space.
I am curious to hear their implementation and why they also decided that what AMD was offering in FSR was not enough. That they wanted to do something for their own.
My guess is that even if they're using FSR, whatever future FSR 4 is, they're not going to call it FSR 4 because Microsoft's implementation is very close because of the They have a unique problem in that both Sony and Microsoft are shipping very similar hardware, right? So they have marketing challenges rather than technical challenges, and it wouldn't surprise me if the implementation is actually really close. It's funny. I expected people to start leaking what the implementations look like. I haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah, no, I haven't either. Here's a good question that I'm actually gonna try to ask my white hat friend of the show, Ivan RS. Is a third-party antivirus enough to safely run Windows 10 post-mortem, meaning after they stop providing patches? Do you think a third-party antivirus like a McAfee or whatever would be enough to be safe?
I think you'd need to fire. I wouldn't, but I mean, if you have antivirus and you have a real firewall and you're really, really careful.
Yeah, it depends on what you do too. If you're just gaming, if you literally are just like, oh hey, I play games on Steam, it depends on what you do.
If you're on a private network, it's a little bit different than if you're on like a big university LAN or something like that. I think it's time to let the past die and embrace Windows 11 when Windows 10 is no longer supported.
So I talked about this recently that I only have one machine left that's on Windows 10, and it's my work machine at my desk at home.
Yeah, my daughter's computer's still on Windows 10. I got to upgrade it still.
I was using this laptop for the past 2 weeks because I was traveling, and this is Windows 11 obviously, and I fired it up and I was very much jolted, and I had a thought yesterday. I was like, dang, should I just upgrade to Windows 11 and not have any more Windows 10 anymore? I figure, because usually my feeling has been like, I don't need anything, so why now? Windows 10 is working just fine.
Yeah.
But also, now everything I use from the handhelds to the laptop to even my gaming PC under my TV, it's all 11. So now the problem I'm having is that it's a little jarring to go back.
When I have to work on my daughter's PC, it feels like I'm going back in time. It feels like I'm running an XP machine under there.
Yeah, it's a really weird feeling. I never thought I'd get here, and I don't know if that's a good enough reason to upgrade.
So then I need to ask you guys, because my work machine right now at home is still running on Windows 10. Well, I'm still editing in Adobe Suites and whatnot. And I have a year left, right? It's before
year and change.
October 2025. I think
2025 is so October. So should I upgrade?
Sure.
Soon?
Why not? Live Moss. It's you're never gonna. What kind of excitement are you missing by not jacking up your computer with an unnecessary OS upgrade? That's the thing to remember. It's always there. There's always an opportunity to go out and get to stay up until 3 o'clock in the morning and wrestle with drivers and have a big hassle. It's probably fine. You're probably not going to have any of those issues, but you might, and that's part of the fun of computing. You should embrace that. That's what being a nerd, being a nerd is all about breaking your computer and staying up until 4 o'clock in the morning and being bleary-eyed the next day.
Well, that is true.
Yeah.
Until I have embargo edits to edit. Then Adam's going to hammer me down and be like, where are those edits?
That just adds an extra level of intensity and excitement to the upgrade process. I think it's, look, I believe in the defaults. I leave stuff generally default, except for I turn off search and some other things that we've talked about. Mm-hmm. I think that Windows 11, once you do, it's 2 or 3 things. It's turning off the search, disabling Copilot, installing everything so you have good search, stuff like that.
It's fine.
It's quite good.
Yeah, it's fine. There's nothing that I am necessarily hating about Windows. It's just I haven't had a reason to on my work machine.
Yeah. So. Friend of the show, Coffee, points out that if you air gap it, it's totally fine. Meaning disconnect it from the internet and the network. I know, like, I talk to people who work in industrial situations where they have like XP machines running 25-year-old like fab machines, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I talk to musicians who have in their audio pipelines hardware that runs old XP and Windows 7 machines that run audio equipment that's only connected with the audio interfaces, not to the network. And like, that's totally fine. But if you're going to connect to the network, like, please upgrade.
Yeah. Speaking of Windows, friend of the show Sneaky says, should gamers just use Windows 11 already? I mean, I'm already there.
I think if you're running a disaggregated, hold on, what's the official term?
Disaggregated architecture.
Yeah, disaggregated architecture. You probably benefit by running Windows 11 at this point.
Gordon had done some testing a couple years ago of like Windows 10 versus 11 on, I think it was 13th gen or 12th gen.
Yeah.
And found like not a huge difference, but it depends once again what you do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw, I think it was Hardware Unboxed put up something recently about testing Windows 10 and Windows 11. I haven't watched the video, so I don't know for gaming specifically, but I don't know. I mean, yeah, I'm just using Windows 11 out of, it's the norm now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
like in our job, it's important. Like, there's benefit to like running defaults, running the thing that everybody else is running is makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. All right, a couple more. Is there anything that came out over the chat?
Yeah, over in the chat, we got. Let's see, real quick before I mispronounce it. Buzz Pandia says, should we wait for the new GPU from AMD for 1440p or pull the trigger on the 7900 GRE?
Ooh, let's see what the price. Let's see what the price is.
So
on
the GRE is the
right
golden
now.
rat one.
Golden rabbit.
Golden rabbit.
Oh, sorry, I thought it was the year of the rat.
Wow. No, it came out last year.
Well, it came out this year here though.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, whatever.
I guess they would have named it the Golden Rat Edition, probably. Maybe.
I mean, but it is a part of the
it's
calendar.
part of the zodiac.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rat and rabbit.
So let's see. I'm seeing an Acer, an ASRock.
And that's a pretty good price.
$529, $499 for that's open box. $549 refurbished. I'm sorry, $499 refurbished. Yeah, I did do testing on the GRE. I do like it. I think it depends your budget. Will they have something better at that price point? I don't know. I mean, the thing is, like, how bad do you need it? Because that's always the thing to be like, oh, how long should I wait to upgrade something? Yeah. Like, if you're really feeling it, like if you're not hitting the FPS that you need, and yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a bad card.
And at 1440p.
1440p, yeah, no, that's where that is positioned, and I don't. If I remember correctly, I don't have. Let's see. Do I have my?
But I mean,
stats here.
We're firmly at the end of the generation now, and it feels to me like
prices have went down.
I mean, yeah, prices are down because the GREs were $600, I think, $550 or something when they came out.
Log in, of course. So yeah, I mean, it depends on how bad you want it. Also, how soon do you think it's going to happen? If you're willing to wait to the end of the year, I feel like there's going to be something at least announced by the end of the year. I mean, I could be wrong, but
these GPUs are old enough now that we might see some really substantial Black Friday deals too. Like, I don't want to put on Elena's hat, but it's like they've been out for a long time.
Talking about 2 months.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess theoretically, if you're willing to wait a couple months, but I mean, it's still a good card. I remember liking it. And feeling like it had some good performance. Sorry, I'm just logging into my Excel spreadsheet with all my benchmarks.
Oh, I love an Excel spreadsheet.
So let me find. I tested it around the 40 Super. So let's see, the GRE. I had a Power Color Hellhound. Was the version I had, and let's see. Yeah,
is the one with the dog on the box.
Dog. It had a hound.
Okay.
That was made from hell. I'm just kidding. So yeah, it fell in line. Depending on the game. At 1440p, my testing had its Cyberpunk equal with a 4070 Ti Super. In F1 2022, it was roughly equivalent to a 4070 Ti Super.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
In Returnal, it was roughly equivalent to the 4070 Ti non-Super. Shadow of the Tomb Raider, roughly equivalent to 4070 Super. So they kind of lagged there. So yeah, no, I mean, and the 4070 Ti Super. Let's see what the pricing is right now. I'm just curious because if you can get one for $500 here,
4070 Ti Supers are $850
like
to $900.
$800.
$800.
So
$900.
is it worth $300 for that NVIDIA name?
You get Outlaws, Star Wars Outlaws free with select RTX 40 series too.
There you go. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, and yeah, I'm talking about these are mostly regular raster numbers. I did have a section we're talking about ray tracing. Where did I put that?
Yeah, that's a pretty easy. If you're getting 4070 Ti Super numbers on a $300 discount, that seems like a pretty good deal to me. I'd probably buy one of those.
Yeah, my RT numbers. I had a couple RT games. It was definitely lagging behind there. So.
I mean, that's the story, right? Is that your ray tracing perf is going to be not as good as NVIDIA.
So we're talking about like a Returnal, which is a pretty light RT.
Shadows and shine.
Yeah, it was below a 4070 non-super. So, yeah. Do I think that the newest AMD generation is going to perform better in RT? Probably.
I would hope so.
Yeah. So I don't know. Unless you feel like you're going to find a real good deal, but 1440p, what are they going to come out of the gate with? Are they going to... If we know they're not gunning for the high end, do they come out of the gate on the low end? Do they come out with mid range? I don't know. That is a big question mark. And yeah, how long are you willing to wait?
Yeah.
So Glass Puppo says they got a 6950 XT for $400 new. Oh wow. Ooh, that's a pretty big power draw though.
But because we don't know where the market is shifting, do you would suggest people future-proof it at this point?
I mean, you're at least with the numbers I have, you're talking about over 60 on most of these anyway at 1440p. So like if you're really trying to future-proof it, I guess if you have a 1440p 144 hertz, like you're probably pushing the edge. So maybe you want to try to go something or wait to see if you can get better performance for the same price. But yeah, I don't know how much future proofing you can necessarily do with that kind of budget, other than just wait to see if the new thing. So, I mean, I really feel like at the latest there's got to be something by CES. So if you're willing to wait for like 4 months at the latest, I can't imagine it would be launched past CES.
I think AMD is going to do something by CES probably. I don't know that NVIDIA has there's no pressure on NVIDIA to release anything new right now.
Yeah, which is why I think AMD is excited to get out there and try to get some early market share.
Friend of the show, Anders L says buy a used 4080 or 4090. What's the feeling on buying used GPU? Like for the last few years, I felt a little hinky buying used GPUs just because of the mining, the toll mining takes on them.
I feel like that's less so recently. I mean,
post Ethereum, it seems like there's not as much mining happening on GPUs, but I don't pay attention to that stuff at all, so I don't really know.
I mean, there are definitely some YouTube channels out there who have a lot of good recommendations for how to get used GPUs and what to look for, pricing, stuff like that. So I feel like I'm not equipped to answer that necessarily, other than just safe practices.
Buyers buy beware. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I think you can get a really good deal on a used GPU.
I got a 1080 Ti here if you want. It's $600. It's new in box.
That's what I want. Yeah.
You want that?
Is it Founders?
Yeah, Founders.
Yeah, I need one for a collection.
Okay.
For the wall.
Okay.
Yeah, because I bought one on eBay and it came painted. Remember that?
Oh yeah, it's a nice paint job though.
I don't know about that. I sent it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Last question. Okay. I always like to save the last for a VC Jester question.
Wow.
So because he usually tries to
preferred spot.
Yeah, he tries to throw a monkey wrench in the end.
He's not asking about if you only have one lighted fan.
Do you want a science one or a YouTube one? I'll let you pick.
I'm always going to go with science.
Science. All right, here. Friend of the show, VC Jester asks, so Nova says that if we stretched all of the DNA in our body out into a single line, it would go back and forth to the sun 61 times.
That makes sense.
How far do you think all of the circuits in a modern CPU would stretch to?
Oh.
Circuits.
They're 4 nanometers? And there's a billion of them?
I don't think that's the whole package, though.
Well, yeah, but...
In a modern CPU, yeah. Like, I guess it depends on which CPU you're talking about.
Well, I mean, how many
for
the biggest,
P cores
right?
versus E cores?
Yeah, you're going to go for whichever the Intel 14900 or the
14900K
or the AMD 7950X.
I bet there's less transistors in the AMD one compared to the Intel one.
Do we have time to summon Dr. Ian Cuttress?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, this is Dr. Ian Cuttress.
We gotta say his name 3 times.
Yeah.
You mean Dr. Ian Cuttress?
Yes. Count. Here we go. 14900K transistor count. Let's see. I don't have a good answer.
No, Gemini doesn't have a good answer. Be honest.
Gemini is telling me that the transistor count is around 4.2 billion. But it depends on the model.
4.2 billion, and they're 4 nanometers wide, and it's a thing that's this big. So I'm going to say there's less than in our body. So I'm going to say from here to the moon.
I guess the M1 Max has 57 billion.
Yeah, but it has RAM on there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So how many pieces of DNA? Could we equate to it, right? If we know if we're going to assume that it says 4.2 billion.
Well, DNA is real small. DNA is molecular, right? So we're talking about an order of magnitude smaller probably than the size of the circuits. But there's a lot more of us than there is in a CPU. Like, we're big. So like if I ground you up and took all of your DNA out, there's going to be a fair amount of DNA inside there. Yeah, a couple ounces.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, okay. Well, then here we go. How many times can the 1400K reach the sun on its transistors? 4.8.
I think it goes to the moon and back. That's my answer.
The moon and back. I'm going to say to...
Answer. Maybe I just say... Actually, I'm going to say just to the moon.
I'm going to say a 14900KS. I'm just kidding. It's the same. Yeah. 14900KS reaches to Uranus and back. But
that's like 2 feet.
I don't know. Sorry.
3 feet. Man. And you yell at me when I use naughty language on the podcast.
No. Uranus is a it's a
that's
planet. That's
not how you pronounced it.
This is your child, Will?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Play Roblox.
I have poo-poo jokes. You're not getting any Robux this week, Adam Patrick Burry.
Okay, with that, I'd say...
So hold on, what's the answer?
I don't know.
What? There's no answer?
He says, I don't expect anyone to be able to answer this, but it's an interesting thought exercise.
You can't do that, VC Jester.
Oh, my God. You didn't tell me this was going to be a completely unsatisfying... Look at the replies. Is there really not an answer in the replies? I'm so upset.
He's in the chat.
VC Jester, what the heck?
Okay, well, yeah, let's see in the replies. Oh, there's a joke reply from Ivan R. 100 French meters. I don't
made
know
an enemy today.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, the French established the meter. It's 1/25,000th of the distance from the equator to the pole.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice numbers. I hate it. Numbers suck. Don't ask me to come up with numbers because I will just make a
that's
poop
actually
joke.
Right for the record.
Oh,
it's a butt joke, not a poop joke.
Well, poop comes from your butt.
Poop does come from the butt.
So
that's science.
Yeah,
right there.
Tangentially.
See that we got the science.
The science. Hey, there we go.
Hi-yo.
Yeah.
Just don't ask Gordon on was it the
Nope. No.
Yeah, maybe we should phone up your friends over at Tested and be like, hey,
how far is it from here to Uranus?
Yeah. And can a 1400K reach it?
I have a question about Steam families. And I want to put a CPU in your butt.
What do you think Norm would say if he called him up and asked him that?
It's truly impossible to predict. He would probably just look at me. He would send me a weird. He would send me a GIF and be like, I don't have time for this nonsense right now.
He's like, man,
I'm really busy.
He's like, yeah, I don't. Okay, all right, cool. Let's get out of here. Let me bring up the end. Check back next week for your fix of PC talk and Uranus talk. Here on the Full Nerd.
Nope.
We love talking about planets. We'll talk about all the planets. Pluto is Pluto a planet?
Not a planet.
I call it a planet. I grew up saying it was a planet, so it's going to be a planet. For the rest of my life.
If you're a Pluto truther, you're one step away from being a flat Earth truther. You don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, the Pluto is a planet.
Ceres a planet now?
I made a thing
Is Eros a planet? Where's the line, Adam? You got to have a line someplace.
Yeah. Well, the line when I was a kid was Pluto is a planet.
There's a really good kids book called Why Pluto's Not a Planet Anymore. You should check it out for your kid.
That sounds like revisionist history to me. If you want to listen to us on the go, subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, Pocket Casts, anywhere you can point your RSS feed to. Hopefully we are there. And if you are, please rate and review us on your podcast of choice. Every time you do, Pluto becomes a planet again.
No, Adam revises history.
I want to thank everyone who showed up to this show.
I want to apologize to everyone who showed up to this show.
So thank you, Will, for hanging out here and answering the tough questions.
That's what I'm here for, is to answer the tough questions.
Yeah. I want to thank everybody for watching, and I especially want to thank Willis Lai for controlling the verticals and horizontals. You deserve a Kinder Surprise.
Yay!
And yeah, I'm not going to tell you where they were smuggled in from, but
it was Neptune, probably.
It was Neptune.
Uranus?
Yeah, exactly. Uranus is how we pronounce it. Anyway, thanks. Get us out of here, Willis.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you, Adam, for bringing or smuggling in the Kinder Eggs for me. And instead of looking out for other planets, look at the full moon tonight, since it is Mid-Autumn Fest. So, yeah, go check it out, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye. Mooncake. No, I just want mooncake.
Yeah.
Mooncake. 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 Mooncake.
Oh, gosh. A lot of year olds here.